Megan Thee Stallion shooting situation, not Tory Lanez. It's more Megan Thee Stallion shooting, and Tory Lanez obviously got found guilty, and he's now serving 10 years, I think, in prison for it, right? But the recent update obviously was that he got stabbed 14 times in prison. I think he's currently on the mend. Last report I saw was that he was taken back to the prison hospital. I think he got flew out to a regular civilians, I guess, hospital, public hospital, whatever. I think now he's in a better place, or he's in better condition, so they flew him back to the prison hospital to kind of continue his recovery, and I'm assuming he's going to go back into prison again. So that's kind of that. Well, one of the reporters that kind of broke the story about Tory maybe not being guilty of shooting Megan Thee Stallion, because as the law goes, this journalist was looking into the story to write more about it. They investigated it some more, and they found a lot of holes in the original case. And they came to the conclusion that most likely Tory wasn't the person that shot Megan, which a lot of us believed anyway. But, you know, he got convicted. You know, it all went to court. All the evidence was there. The jury's peers convicted him. At some point, you got to kind of move on. So I think a lot of us just moved on. But this journalist guy is saying that there is no DNA evidence on the gun. He was the only one that was actually taking DNA off of. The person that was a eyewitness said that they saw girls arguing and fighting, not a guy, and that they described Tory as being the person that was trying to restrain them or something. So basically everything points towards the idea that, you know, Tory most likely wrestled the gun or knocked the gun out of Kelsey's hand to avoid Megan getting shot. The gun went off a couple more times, and then I guess in that scuffle, maybe Megan got shot with shrapnel, maybe she stepped on glass, whatever happened. But the idea that Tory stood there with his gun in his hand, pointed it to the ground and shot at her feet is clearly not true. Like, I think most people that are sensible can kind of come up with that conclusion. Is Tory still guilty of being a little bit of a player, being a little bit greedy, maybe manipulating these girls and whatever, not looking up their feet? I don't know, all that sort of, like, you know, bad guy things, probably. But is he guilty of shooting somebody? I don't think so. But he paid a price for probably being a little bit too confident and cocky about the case, and now he's sitting in prison. I know a lot of people said that he shouldn't have testified. That's the thing, right? I don't know how it works in America, but I think a lot of people that I read, a lot of cases that I follow that are American-based, people always say that you should never testify, which I don't really understand why you shouldn't. I guess because they're worried about cross-examination, right? What most likely, if the other side gets to question you, they can maybe make you trip up and say something that could actually hamper your case. But I think if I was Tory in this case, I would have wanted to get on that stand and plead my case. If anything, I'm not a crier, right? You guys know I don't believe in men crying and shit. But if that was me and I was Tory, I would have gotten on the stand just so I could cry, you know, to plead my case, because it wasn't looking good for him. Megan was a people's champ. She got up on the stand and was sobbing. Everyone loved her. The idea of a man shooting you in the feet is so brutal and violent. Everybody has sympathy for her. So you have to fight her on that level. If that was me, I would have got on the stand and just started sobbing, like unable to finish my sentences, like, you know what I mean? Bogey coming out of my nose and shit, like hyperventilating. I would have done all of that shit. Mad drama, maybe fainted on the chair a little bit, drinking water, like acting like my throat is completely parched from all the nerves, start trembling. That might have helped his case, you know, but it didn't. You know, he just sat there and thought, oh yeah, the jury's going to look at the evidence and they're going to come with the logical conclusion, I'm not guilty. Nah, man, you got to get in the mud. You got to play those games too. He didn't play those games and now he's suffering. Anyway, all of that preamble to say, there's a big update. I'm going to play a clip here from the journalist that kind of broke the story on Fox News. Then I'm going to show you another post where Megan has replied to all of this conversation on the Instagram stories, which I think is a bad move personally. But let's play it one by one and go from there. So this is the original journalist that kind of broke the story, about Tory maybe not being guilty. Let's play this.
The artist known as Tory Lanez is currently recovering after being stabbed in prison. The attack occurred after the New York Post made contact with Megan Thee Stallion's team regarding the op-ed that I was working on with them, and Lanez was then stabbed days later. But his representatives claims that Megan's ex-best friend, Kelsey Harris.
By the way, isn't it funny that, isn't it, not to be that guy, but isn't it funny that the black guy on fucking Fox News, number one, has a horrible lineup, right? Horrible lineup, right? The black people they have on Fox News, most likely it's a woman, they got a horrible wig. If it's a guy, they got a terrible lineup or a receding hairline. And number two, look at how dry his lips are. Where did they find these Negroes? Where do they find Negroes that don't have good lineups, don't fucking moisturize their lips? Like, come on, geezer, man. A little Vaseline will go a long way, brother. A little Vaseline will go a long way.
This is the one responsible for the shooting. Now, I've been looking into this case for almost 6 months now. I immediately learned that George Gascon, the George Soros-funded prosecutor, railroaded Tory Lanez. And I've been actively working on the story. And this has been something that has been quite a movement. I did a petition with the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety at caldwellinstitute.org, where artists like Drake has encouraged his more than 140 million followers to sign this petition. We put it up on Wednesday. We're at almost 300,000 signatures today that advocate for the governor of California to intervene on this and pardon him, because I believe he was really railroaded.
I don't know what they're going to get out of this, though. He's not getting out, innit? Like, you and I both know most likely Tory didn't shoot Megan. No matter, you know what I mean? Most of us sensible people know that. But he's been convicted, bro. If it was politically motivated, if it was ideologically motivated, you know, let's say it was, right? She's a black woman, violence against black women, all that sort of stuff. They went to fight against it. LAPD wanted to make a stand for something, show that they were kind of coming down on it really hard. The prosecutor the same way. Gavin Newsom wanted to get some brownie points to some black people. Cool, he got convicted. Why would they reverse that decision, which is then them admitting they're at fault? When's the last time you've heard of a politician holding their hands up and saying, I got that one wrong? When have you ever heard a politician walk anything back? When you have ever heard a politician admit any fault? It doesn't happen. This is impossible. There's no way Tory's getting out. Like, it's done. It's a good thing for his PR, I think, right? It's a good thing for his brand. It's a good thing for his name in general. And it paints Meghan as a bad guy in this and the bad person that quote unquote lied on his name. But in terms of him getting out of prison early, it's not happening. He's going to serve that full sentence, or up until wherever the point is that he can get out. You know, 'cause I think some sentences you can, if you do like 80% of it, or no, if you do up to 80% of it, you can kind of get out early. I don't know how it works out. But I don't see this actually working in his favor in terms of getting out. It's working in his favor in terms of painting Meghan out to be the bad person who lied on his name. But I don't think he's getting out early. I just don't think politicians that are involved, such as Gavin Newsom, who's already on a bad run, right, with the LA fires and shit. People are fucking hating him, all this malarkey. The podcast that just dropped of his that people are taking a piss out of. He needs all the good press that he can get. The last thing he wants to do is come out and say, yeah, we fucked up this case and we're going to release this guy early. It's not happening. It's not happening. I don't think so anyway. This is Megan Thee Stallion replying to all the things that happen, right? So let's see Megan Thee Stallion on the Instagram stories. Megan Thee Stallion, what's she saying? At what point are y'all gonna stop making me have to relive being shot by Tory? At what point are Tory and y'all fans gonna stop lying? Like, how much is the check to keep harassing me? Why is this happening every day? 1 minute him/y'all said I was never shot. Now you're letting him play in your face again and say I was shot, but it wasn't him. Oh, okay. I'm sick of this shit. Leave me the F alone. He ain't dare get on that stand and deny he shot me. That was his choice because he knows he did that shit. I don't give a fuck about a blog or a bot. Why in the F would me? Megan Thee Stallion have to lie on this motherfucker about shooting me? How y'all mad at the person that got shot? Facts are facts. He did it. It was proven in court. Fuck the hate campaign on the internet. Tory, you shot me. Ain't no new fucking evidence. Y'all been saying that same shit for years. Tory, please leave me alone. You a fucking demon. I'm off this silly ass internet shit. Bye. Strong words. I get her side of things. I understand why she's so pissed and upset and angry about
powerful bunch.
Your big up aside Aziz, appreciate it.
Did he have a gun? Oh, that's your takeaway, Meg.
It does sound like that. I hope that's your take. I got shot in the foot. Now you want to reach free. That's your takeaway. Oh, big up aside Aziz, absolute legend. God. I understand why she's upset. I get it, right? I get why she's upset, because if she believes that Tory did shoot her, then this constant rehashing of the events, people basically questioning her credibility, questioning the whole conviction, basically making her relive this whole trauma, must be very distressing. But I don't think it's doing her any favors. I don't think it's doing her any favors. And if I was in her team, I would say the most important thing for her career, which is impossible to do really, is kind of hard, because even someone like a Rihanna, who's gone on to do amazing things in business, amazing things in music, she's got a whole new relationship, she's got a bunch of kids, she's moving in a whole different space. Even Rihanna, they still link her back to the whole Chris Brown situation that happened many years ago. It probably feels like a lifetime ago for her, right? So sometimes these celebrities, unfortunately for them, if they're involved in like high profile incidences, especially if they're negative, it's going to follow them until the day they die. It's just part of the job, unfortunately. But if I was Megan, I will be trying my best, if I was in her team, to basically say, as soon as Tory got convicted, here's what I would have done. As soon as Tory would have got convicted, I would have made it a mission to be part of Megan's team, that you now try and turn a new page. You now try and rebuild Megan Thee Stallion, the artist, persona, or whatever brand online. You don't ever mention Tory's name again. No matter what sneak disses he puts out on those prison tapes, no matter what he might say through a fucking live streamer, no matter what new evidence his team might put up, you just stay the course and you focus only on the music. Only on the music. I would even go as far as saying that if after Tory got convicted, if I was a part of Megan's team, I wouldn't even make a statement. Or maybe make a statement for a lawyer, but I wouldn't have personally made one anyway. Do you know what I mean? I just would have carried on like nothing happened. Just carry on, go and do your music. Because every time she talks about this guy, although she's trying to defend herself, although she's trying to call out all the nonsense she's seeing online, all the harassment and shit, number one, that stuff doesn't work anyway, right? The moment you shout online, you use all caps and you start getting angry and you start calling people out and telling them to leave you alone, it does the opposite, right? It doesn't work. If people are quote unquote bullying you online and you tell them to stop bullying you, they're only going to bully you more. So just don't do it. Just shut the fuck up and let it kind of blow over. If it doesn't blow over, you got to make a concentrated effort to try and rewrite the narrative about your name and just focus on the music. I don't think a single person, I don't know, maybe if you're a Megan Thee Stallion stan, you can do it, but I couldn't name you the last single she dropped. The last thing I remember her doing in terms of music that I thought was good was the Coachella performance, because I actually watched it, right? And I thought that was actually really impressive. I was actually surprised about how good she is as a performer on stage. But I think most people can't remember the last thing she's done musically. All they can remember her is maybe clips of her twerking, this fucking Tory stuff, and that's about it. And that's a real shame. That's a real bad thing, because eventually all that other stuff outside of music is going to dry up, and then the music is going to suffer as well. So I don't know. I just think it's a bad way to go about doing this. I understand why she's upset, but I wouldn't have replied the way that she did, because if you're also a believer of this evidence, the evidence is quite compelling, bro. The questions are quite compelling. Let's be fair, bro. No DNA was found on that gun that was matching of Tory's, you know. And if he did shoot her in the way that they're saying he shot her, then that DNA would have been all over the gun. No witnesses have said that they saw Tory
powerful
shoot her.
Bunch.
Yo, big up. Oh, big up High Def. What a legend. Big up High Def. What a legend. Thank you for the fucking 5 gifted memberships. You're an absolute legend. Big up Blood Clot High Def. Much appreciated, Gigi. You're an absolute
powerful bunch.
G. Big up High Def. What people saying in the stream chat here? Big up Black American. I feel sensible. I think he did it. He was known to have a temper, and when dudes get caught between
powerful
their chicks,
bunch.
they lose it. But I also don't care, because that's what you get hoeing. That's what you get hoeing. I think he did it. I don't know. I don't buy this temper thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Powerful bunch.
I don't buy this temper thing. I don't really buy it. There wasn't a lot of conversation about his temper before the whole shooting thing happened, to be fair. He was quite beloved. At least with people in hip hop, from what I saw anyway. The only thing I remember him having a temper thing
powerful
was,
bunch.
Oh, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he beat up fucking Travis Scott one time in his trailer or something, right? They had a fight because they had a falling out, and I guess Tory offered him out to have a fight. I remember that clip. That might be the only thing, but I don't remember him being the temper guy. But either way, my sensible brain just can't picture him standing there with the gun and shooting her in the foot. I don't even care about all the other stuff that she did, about twerking, about going out and not caring, because I think some people deal with trauma differently. So I'm not going to judge her too much about how she acted after the fact, right? And I don't think there's one way to act after you get shot. You shouldn't, you know what I mean? Just because you get shot, it doesn't mean you have to be in the house terrified and not wanting to go outside. That's stupid. But I just can't in my head picture the guy just standing there shooting in the foot and telling her to dance bitch, and no one else being a witness to it. It just doesn't make any sense, you know? It just doesn't make any sense. If anything, the only thing that does make sense is that the people that would have had the biggest beef in that car would have been Kelsey and Megan. They were the ones who would have had the biggest conflict, not Tory, because they both found out that they were fucking the same. Kelsey found out that her best friend was fucking Tory behind her back. You know, that's what would have caused the argument, that would have caused the shooting. I don't see any other reason why Tory in that car would have shot Megan. Because what, you would have shot her for what? Because she kind of got too drunk and fucked up his chances of fucking Kylie Jenner. That's not a compelling enough reason. That's not a compelling enough motive. I think the motive for Kelsey for feeling embarrassed, feeling betrayed by her best friend, because if I'm not mistaken, the story also goes, that makes it also fucking interesting and fucking funny, from what I read online, is that allegedly that Kelsey Nicole girl had COVID, and that's how Megan and Tory got close. So Tory and Kelsey were fucking at first, or kind of seeing each other, boyfriend and girlfriend type stuff, dating, who knows. And then Kelsey got COVID and couldn't hang out as much, so she was recovering. And in that time, Tory and Megan were going out a lot more, and they ended up hooking up. So, you know, your best friend kind of fucking the guy you're into behind your back while you're sick is kind of, you know, that would probably hurt your feelings. So I can see that being the reason why they had the beef. I don't really see a reason why Tory would be that pissed off enough to grab the gun to shoot. I mean, it just doesn't add up for me. And then Kelsey getting immunity to not testify, it just, I don't know. It's all fishy, but like you said, it's just like, I wish they would just leave us alone, you know? I wish they would both leave us alone. Like, I think even if Tory was out, he would still be talking about Megan. You know, I think both of these guys, maybe deep down, there's actually some love there. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe deep down, there's actually some love there. It's the most toxic kind of love, because one person is currently sitting in prison because of the other person. But it wouldn't surprise me if he got out and they got back together or something. You know what I mean? That's how toxic, because they seem to can't leave each other alone. They can't seem to leave each other alone. Like, Tory should just be sitting down in prison, writing out his sentence, you know, waiting to get out. And then Megan should just be focusing on her career. Instead, they're both like, you know, sneak dissing each other, one from behind the wall, one outside on stage and shit. It's just, please, man, leave us alone. Leave us fucking alone. Bit of young advice. What about him cutting the legs of a horse? Would you have did? Oof. Oh yeah, true. Was that on stage? Bit of young advice. Was that like a stage thing? Was that like was that when he came up on stage? Is that what you think? Is that what you're talking about? Black American. I like the story fairy tale that the video is based on, but yeah, that would have been a bait. What's the story called? Certain things are Miss Andre. He got into a fight with Travis, Trey Songz. Oh, we got you on vibe. Really? He got into a fight with Travis, Trey Songz, and a lot of other people. Okay, cool. So he's got a bit of a track record for having a short temper then. Okay, that makes sense, isn't it? Short guy syndrome and shit. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's the latest update. Let's hope they work it out. Maybe they won't. But again, if I was in Megan's team, like, I'd be telling her, please do not mention Tory's name ever again. You are banned from mentioning that person's name. If they ask you in the interview, just say no comment. I'm not speaking about that right now. I'm just focusing on the music. I've got this new single out. I've got this new video out. I'm going on tour. I'm really happy about this feature. I'm starting this new show. That's what I would do if I was on a team. I would forbid her from talking about Tory ever in public. Ever. But hey, too late for that now.